My father was the type of man who would leave the adults' table to show the kids how to do a proper belly flop. He was the kind of man who could go on and on about any subject until you hear the famous "Papo" call from my mom. But then we'll just take you outside and finish chewing your ear off. When we would go camping, my father's sense of direction is impeccable. He would leave just out of nowhere without a flashlight, come back in the middle of the night as if he hadn't been gone for 5 hours. Like, we just had no idea what he was doing. And I bet you anything there isn't one person in this room who hasn't tried his signature dance move. To no avail, but we tried it. We've all tried it. He wasn't too proud to walk around in his underwear, Santa Claus underwear, to be specific, and just dance around and teach you how to dance salsa, even though he wasn't that great. If he was drunk, you definitely not want him as your space partner. But he'll kick your ass and down the
Ooh.
Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, we all know how much my dad liked to drink. So, it wasn't always all rainbows and sunshines with my dad. I asked my sister, give me a story, something real, something that we can all relate to. And my sisters and I, no matter how many years apart we are, we can all relate to the side of my father. And she told me a really good one, actually. One day, not like many other days, he would come home drunk. My mom would kick him out, and she was crying on the couch, and he had a bag of things, and she thought, man, this is real, like, this is really happening. He's leaving, and he sat down and cried with her, and he finally said goodbye, picked up his things, and all you hear is click, click, click. His clothes, right? No matter what you did, he wasn't proud of all of our accomplishments, because we could literally live in a trailer house and he'd be proud of us, his daughters. We could do anything and he'd be proud of us. Like, there wasn't one thing that we couldn't do wrong. But if you would go into the pond to fish out a big fish, that was the proudest moment of his life. If you could do that, that is the best, You can go fishing with him for 6 hours and not catch a thing, and it would feel like only 2 hours has passed by. That's the kind of man he was. That's how passionate he was about fishing. He will bring you in that zone. My father was the type of man who would take a bus from West New York to New York just to spend the weekend with his grandchildren. His family was everything to him. He would stay up until 2 a.m. to wait for me to come home and then finally go to bed. Without saying a word, not asking where I was, just knowing that I got home safe, let him go to bed. He humbly and just so naturally stepped up as a father figure for his grandchild. And
grandchildren.
Didn't even bat an eyelash. He did it. Despite all the fighting and yelling, my father, he loved his wife of 40 years. So much so that before his final moments last week, we were showing him a picture, a very old picture of him and my mother. And his words were, wow, she was so beautiful. And then he looked at my sister and said, she still is. Because throughout these 40 years, his love for her only grew. And that's what he did for us. He provided his girls, his grandchildren, and his wife an unconditional love. And we're always going to cherish that. That's how we're